Hey everybody, welcome back to Yeti Club. Today we're going to be discussing our favorite Disney movies by era.
And just so you know, we're not doing any Star Wars or Marvel movies that don't count for this discussion.
It's cheap. First off, the Golden Age from 1937 to 1942.
The Golden Age was the original Disney movies overseen by Walt Disney himself. Although the Golden Age isn't really a super accurate name, because outside of Snow White and Dumbo, they did kind of struggle financially. So this group includes Snow White, Dumbo, Bambi, Fantasia, and Pinocchio. So my favorite from that group is going to have to be Pinocchio, mostly just because it has When You Wish Upon a Star, and it's one of the classic Disney songs.
I chose Dumbo.
Next up is the wartime era from 1943 to 1949. The budgets were less, the studio teams were less because the war was going on. Some of them are propaganda movies, so we have Victory Through Air Power, Der Fuhrer's Face, but also Three Caballeros, Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and Song of the South. I think we have the same one on this. Three Caballeros, Donald Duck, Jose Carioca, Panchito, made for a great ride in Epcot, so that one was kind of an easy choice.
Next up is the Silver Age, also known as the Restoration, starting from 1950 to 1969.
So the Silver Age was a return to the big budget movies for Disney. It did kind of have a different whimsical style. It had softer colors, very ornate, detailed backgrounds. And this age ended with Walt's death, with The Jungle Book being the last film that he ever worked on himself. So this era includes Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Old Yeller, Sleeping Beauty, Sword in the Stone, Mary Poppins, and The Jungle Book. So I think, again, we have the same answer on this one. 1, 2, 3, Peter Pan. Although, special shout out to Jungle Book, because I actually met one of the animators that worked on that movie with Walt Disney.
Really?
Yeah, he was the first African American animator to work for Disney.
Wow.
Floyd Norman, yeah, I
That's
got
awesome.
to meet him. It was amazing. Next up was the Bronze Age, also known as the Dark Age. The studio was trying to find its way without Walt. They started focusing much less on fairy tales. Their stories had a little more darkness to them. And they started using xerography, which kind of made the films have a scratchy look. If you watch those movies, you can kind of see the quality is a little bit different because of this new technique. And none of these films had a ton of success. So these were films like Aristocats, Robin Hood, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, The Rescuers, Pete's Dragon, Fox and the Hound, Tron, The Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective, and Oliver and Company. So there are some cult classics, if you will, in there. A lot of those have followings, but none of them like the big classics that you think about. So for this era, I went with Fox and the Hound. I actually think it's a really great movie. One of the saddest moments in all of Disney films, but still a great movie.
I went with The Great Mouse Detective. Just thought it was awesome. Next up is the Renaissance from 1989 through the 90s.
So this era was considered the pinnacle of Disney films. These are the big heavy hitters, the instant classics. These are the movies you think of when you think of Disney. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, The Little Mermaid, The Rescuers Down Under, The Rocketeer, Beauty and the Beast, The Mighty Ducks franchise, Aladdin, Muppets Christmas Carol, Homeward Bound, Hocus Pocus, Cool Runnings, Lion King, Angels in the Outfield, The Santa Claus, Goofy Movie, Pocahontas, Toy Story, Muppet Treasure Island, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Flubber, Mulan, Air Bud, Parent Trap, Bugs Life, Tarzan, and Toy Story 2.
That is a lot.
Yeah, so we're not going to try to nail that down to one movie each because that is absolutely impossible. We're going to do 5 each because this era deserves that, honestly.
No particular order.
Yeah, no particular order. That's impossible as well. I went with the Mighty Ducks franchise, Lion King, Toy Story, Hercules, and Tarzan.
And I went with the exact same 5.
Great minds think alike.
I mean,
yeah, you can't argue against those movies on this list.
they were great, but I mean, they all are very, very good in their own way. It's so hard to really choose.
Next up, we have the Post-Renaissance, also known as the Second Dark Age. These were a little less financially successful. A lot of these movies are really great still, but it's known as a little bit lesser of an era because it was going up against franchises like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. So Disney almost took a little bit of a backseat to those just because of how big those franchises were. So this one has movies like Dinosaur, Remember the Titans, Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, Princess Diaries, Monsters Inc., The Rookie, Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Holes, Finding Nemo, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Freaky Friday, The Incredibles, National Treasure, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, and The Princess and the Frog.
This one we each did 5 again. Still, again, no particular order. My top 5 were Monsters Inc., Pirates of the Caribbean series, Finding Nemo, Lilo and Stitch, and Ratatouille.
I chose the Pirates franchise, Lilo and Stitch, Atlantis, Ratatouille, and Up. Next up we have the revival, also known as the second Renaissance, which is 2010 to the present. These are Disney seeing new heights of success and has really just been on a roll. So this group has Toy Story 3, Alice in Wonderland, Tangled, Tron Legacy, Pirates 4 and 5, John Carter, Brave, Wreck-It Ralph, Monsters U, Frozen, Saving Mr. Banks, Maleficent, Big Hero 6, Cinderella, Tomorrowland, Inside Out, Good Dinosaur, Zootopia, Jungle Book, Finding Dory, Moana, Beauty and the Beast, Cars 3, and Coco. I chose Toy Story 3, Wreck-It Ralph, Monsters U, Tomorrowland, which is a very underrated movie, and Coco.
For my 5, I chose Inside Out, Monsters U, Finding Dory, Coco, and Wreck-It Ralph.
For question 8, we did favorite Pixar movies, which is also incredibly hard to narrow down. For this one, we each did 5 again, and again, no particular order. So I chose Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Ratatouille, Up, and Coco.
For my 5, I chose A Bug's Life, Incredibles, Ratatouille, Up, and Coco. So next up is live action, yet again in no particular order.
So I did the Mighty Ducks franchise, the Pirates franchise, Holes, Remember the Titans, and Angels in the Outfield.
For my 5, I did the Mighty Ducks franchise, Pirates franchise, Flubber, Holes, and The Rookie.
And finally, for question 10, attractions that we think should be made into movies. So I went with Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I think that could be a really good, gritty, dark western. And also the Haunted Mansion. And don't try to tell me. No. Don't try to tell me. Don't tell me that they already made a Haunted Mansion movie. We don't talk about that movie. That movie's a disgrace. Okay? I want another one. I want a good one. I want one we can be proud of. There's a rumor that Guillermo del Toro is gonna make a Haunted Mansion movie.
That would be
It was announced.
awesome.
But it was announced like 4 years ago, and nothing has come of it since. But I still have hope that it's gonna happen. That would be amazing. Guillermo, if you're somehow watching this, we're waiting.
And I chose Expedition Everest and Mission Space.
Yeah, I think Expedition Everest could be like a good adventure movie. You could mix in like a little bit of thrill and horror with the Yeti. Mission Space could be like Apollo 13.
Oh, yeah.
You could do a lot with that. Make it happen.
Yes.
And for today in Disney history, on June 5th, 1995, Disney announced its newest project, Animal Kingdom.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.
And make sure to comment down below with your favorite Disney movies from each era. Until next time.